Dark Dione is a free EA from the developer of the popular Dark EAs. And while it's designed for Forex, I want to see how far I could push it. So I spent hours backtesting it on gold and found settings that delivered surprisingly strong results. In this video, I'll show you the full backtest results, I'll walk you through the settings I used, and I'll place it onto a live $200 account. I'll also share the gold set file, plus an additional one that I created for the euro dollar that showed similarly solid performance in testing. Let's get started. So let's take a look at this EA on the MQL5 marketplace. And what you can see that it is primarily designed for Forex. And we can see that if we look at the settings, you'll see that the expert can go on euro dollar, pound dollar, and New Zealand dollar, and it also says it is suitable for silver, but based on my own backtesting, I couldn't find the settings that worked well for that. Now, if you do want to download the EA, you can do it on the MQL5 marketplace, but what is a much better idea is to actually get it on the Dark EAs website, and I will leave a link to it down below in the description. And you can see that if you get it through the developer's website, you can actually get it for free as well, but instead of just getting one license, you can get it with 10 flexible licenses for MT4 or for MT5. So that really is a much better option in my opinion. Now, as I mentioned, this is primarily designed for Forex pairs, but I really want to try and find a free EA that would work well on a small gold account. Now, that is traditionally quite difficult to do. Gold is usually, or EAs that are designed for gold are usually designed for much bigger accounts that generally start from $1,000 and up. But I really wanted to try and find something that would work on a small account. So I thought I have had good results with these EAs, with the Dark EAs in the past on other currencies. So let me spend some time with one of the free EAs and see if I can get good results on gold on the backtest. Now, something that is very important when you are trading gold, and of course with a small account, is to select the right broker that's got the right trading conditions for the asset that you're going to trade, especially on a small account. For this, I decided to go with FP Markets. And the reason is that FP Markets is an exceptionally well-regulated broker. You can see all of their regulations down here on the bottom of their homepage. And over and above that, the reason that I chose FP Markets is because you'll see that they have pretty much every platform that we could need. So MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5. And of course, in this case, we are using MetaTrader 5. We've also got TradingView, CTrader, and then a bunch of web trader options as well. But the reason that I chose it specifically for this EA and for this trading is if we go to the metals, and if we just look at their trading conditions for gold, and incidentally, I chose a raw account for this particular EA, and I'll explain to you why in a second. You'll see that on gold, on the dollar gold, which is right here, sitting on the raw accounts, we've got spreads starting from 0.07 with an average of 0.12. So what that means is that's 12 cents as a spread, which is tiny, which is absolutely perfect. Now, the difference between trading on a raw and a standard account, let's have a look at their accounts. You'll see that the main differences are that the spreads on the raw account are much lower. So the spreads start from 0 pips on the raw account and usually from 1 pip on the standard account, which isn't a huge difference, but when you're trading a small account, it can be significant. The broker does offer leverage of 1 to 500 as well, which is great. But also what I want to show you is that while the spreads are low on the raw, you will generally pay a commission. And in this case, it's $3 per side, per lot. But because we are trading on a small account with very small lot sizes, I felt that this would be a better option because the commission would probably be lower than what we would pay in spreads, especially if it's an active EA. Okay, so let's take a look at the platform now. What you'll see is these are my backtest results. So what I'm going to show you is I have already run the backtest and I ran it on every tick based on real ticks because I wanted to, in this particular case, get the most accurate results I could. Okay, so you'll see that it is a Dark Dione. I'm running it on gold on the M1. I've run the backtest from the beginning of last year up until 2 or 3 days ago. So it's about 19 months in total. You'll see the deposit is 200, the base currency is US dollars, and the leverage is 1 to 100. That is the leverage that I selected for this account. Let's quickly run through the inputs and I'll just show you some of the stuff that I changed. The first thing I did was I changed the take target or the take profit to 100 pips. The other settings that I changed, and I changed it, like I said, I ran hundreds of backtests on this one and really trying a load of different things. The other things that I changed was I have the money management management set to true. So in other words, it's not trading on fixed lots, it's trading on a percentage of the account per trade. And what I found to be the best was a risk percent of 2. I've also changed the max lot to 0.02. So that is the most that it is actually allowed to trade. So because this is a grid system, I don't want it to continuously keep adding to the position. So I have set it to a maximum lot of 0.02. So it doesn't keep opening bigger positions. The other things I changed, let me show you. This is really where it took me quite a long time of trial and error. You'll see that I've set the coefficient grid management to 0.5. The minimum distance for the grid orders is 1750. So that's quite big. That's a lot bigger than the default settings, but that's where I found my best settings. Then in terms of the stop loss, I haven't actually enabled the stop loss. You'll see that everything here is on false. And that is pretty much it. There might be one or two others that I'm missing, but I really, like I said, I changed a lot of settings, but primarily those are the most important ones. So I ran the backtest. Now I did it before recording the video because it is on real text. It's really going to take a long time. But what you can see with the backtest results is that we have in 19 months a total net profit of 110. So it's about 55%, which is really quite impressive. The max drawdown is about 31%, the equity drawdown. That does seem like quite a lot, and 30% or 31% can be quite a lot. However, because this is a live account, and particularly a small live account, it's really very, very difficult to balance the results or the profit and the equity drawdowns, right? You've got to try and find the balance between the two. And in a small account like this, it's quite difficult to keep your equity very low while still actually making any kind of significant profits. And because this is a live account and not a funded account or any kind of account where we have limitations on our max loss or our max drawdown, this is quite comfortable. We generally, as a trading team, if we're trading on a live account, we accept equity drawdowns up to 50% on the backtest. But you also don't want it like every month or two. So it is quite important to look at the graph and actually see what the graph looks like. And what you'll see is here, it was really only 2 drawdowns that were kind of significant. This one looks a bit more dramatic, but actually this was only about 30%. This one was a little bit less, right? If we look at the backtest results once again, over and above the net profit and the drawdown, the other things that I wanted to look at was my winning percentages. And what you can see is that on my short trades, we won 92%, and on my long trades, we won 96.4%. So that is really, really good results. Even though there was a drawdown, it was really only 1 or 2, and it did recover relatively quickly. So I feel very comfortable placing this onto a $200 live account. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I spent many, many hours experimenting with various settings before settling on these. This is a crucial step before I trade any EA. And if you're new to trading or you haven't traded with the EAs in the past, you can sign up for our 100% free 21-day algo trading program that includes free courses, free EAs, and many resources. It's a perfect place to start, and it's completely free. If you'd like to enroll, you'll find a link in the description below. Okay, so let's place this EA onto our chart. So I'm going to close the tester. Here's my EA, so I have already placed it into the directory. If you haven't seen that, I've shown you how to do it in many videos in the past. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to put this one onto gold. We're going to enable our algo trading. Okay, the next thing we need to do is just check one setting here, and that is make sure that we allow DLL imports. Okay, I've done that before, so we know that's working. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the EA and I'm going to drag it onto my gold chart. You can see that I have already set it to M1 because that is what I've used as my backtesting settings. All right, let's just drag it onto our chart. Click on inputs. We're going to load the set file that we created. And by the way, I'm going to share this with you as I mentioned. So all we're going to do there is just click on load. It is this one here. I'm going to click on open, and then I'm going to click on OK. And you'll see that my EA is now attached. It is on and it is trading, and I'm hoping that it'll make some profits for me. You can see that it's actually immediately opened a trade that is already looking positive. It's a nice start. Okay, the other thing that I promised you was that I would share my euro dollar set file that I created. Now, I'm not going to run a backtest because I've already run it, but what I will do is I will show you my results. I have saved them as screen grabs. You can see that it's euro dollar and it's on the H1 in this case, not the M1. Same time period, so from the beginning of last year. Then if we look at the graph, you'll see a similar graph graph. One or two drawdowns, I guess, relatively significant, and then this one here at the end. But if we look at the actual results, you'll see that we have a drawdown of 33% and we have a total net profit of 300. And keep in mind, this is also on a $200 account. So this is a total net profit of about 150%. So that's really, really impressive. And I'm almost certainly going to trade this on a $200 live account as well with these particular settings on the euro dollar. Okay, guys, so I am continuing this video a few days after I recorded the first part because I wanted to actually show you the quite incredible trading results that we've had so far. So this EA has been trading for about 6 days in total. But if you look, you'll see that really it only opened one trade on the 11th, which was Friday. Today is the 17th. And everything after that was from the 14th onwards. So it's essentially just 4 days of trading. And what you can see is that we've got a lot of trades, and the vast majority of them are profitable. You'll see that we have a total gross profit of 104 with a net profit of 97. Now keep in mind that this is a $200 account. So these results really, as I said, have far exceeded my expectations so far. Now, if we look at the FX Blue track record, you can see that there's just been this explosive growth. As I said, there was one trade that opened on Friday, and then pretty much everything else has happened this week. Today is Thursday. What you can see is that so far we have a expected monthly return of 431%, which is just incredible. We've currently got a profit factor of 2.47, and our current weekly return is 48.8%, so about 50%. Now, the thing is that this is really performing a lot better than I thought it would, and it is much more active. But that does bring in another thing that you need to be aware of, and that is that it is active. This is a small account, and there is quite a lot of volatility. So what I have done and what I am continuing to do is I have actually now put in a monetary stop loss, which I change as the account grows. So I keep it on 50%. So if we go down to the loss settings, you can see here, I have enabled the monetary stop loss. I have told it to stop the EA if it hits that stop loss. So in other words, it will close all trades and it will stop trading completely. And right now I have it at 140 because I set this when the account was at about 280. It is now closer to 300, so I'm going to change this to 150. So whatever happens, I'm going to keep the account protected. Now, even if at this point it does start losing and it does reach this 150, actually all I've lost is 50% in the account. Although I'm setting it to 50% of the total account, at this point, this will only account for about 25% losses if the EA had to stop trading. Now, because of this very rapid performance and because of how active this EA is and because of the volatility, I would say that 200 would be the absolute minimum, but you would need to really keep an eye on that stop loss and keep adjusting it as needed. But I would personally feel more comfortable trading this on a $1,000 account. So just wanted to show you the results so far so you can see where we are. And as I said in the video, I will leave the link to the track record so you can keep an eye on it and keep an eye on its progress as it continues trading. As always, I will leave links to the broker, FP Markets, the robot, the set files, our track record, and the 21-day program in the video description. Before you go, check out this video where I placed the brand new Dark Nova on a live account. Thanks for watching, trade safe, and I'll see you soon.